Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Feeling Things. I'm Amy.
And I'm Kat.
And today we are doing a drama triangle sort of deep dive. Is it a deep dive into the drama triangle or just like school time?
I'd call it an overview.
Ooh, what? Oh, an overview.
We're doing a what do they call it? High level. We're not getting into
We're
the
not going
weeds
deep.
of it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just shallow dive.
We're gonna, and then if we need to do a deep dive, we can. But I think that we'll hit what we need to hit.
You know what you need to know by staying in the kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Where it's safe.
Where it's safe.
Like
Yeah.
this is like a hot tub. Hot tub is like the safe part of the pool. We're not going deep.
The hot tub is a different part of the pool.
I know, but
The
it's
shallow end?
generally safe, right? Yeah. See, I was just creating a little drama
Yeah.
for the drama
For a
triangle. You didn't like it
triangle.
either. You were feeling feisty because I brought up hot tub.
Well, I've already been feeling feisty today.
Is that your feeling of the day?
Well, I don't feel feisty. I feel like I was coming off as feisty.
But that's not.
But I didn't feel that. I felt frustrated.
It's not you at your core. Frustrated? I almost would rather you be feisty than frustrated.
I wasn't mad.
Okay.
It's
Well,
a
wait, what are
a
you
shade.
frustrated at? Or about?
Can I share this? I can share this.
I think
Okay.
so.
I just wanted to talk about my feeling of the day, which was excited. And I was excited because my birthday is coming up. And then you were like, your birthday will pass.
That's not
Be
how I
past.
said it.
You said it just like this. You said, your birthday will be past. You can't talk about that.
That's not how I said it. And you know it.
I'm teeing up an example for the drama triangle.
Okay.
And you were just like, we can't talk about that. It'll be past. Nobody will want to hear about your birthday.
Okay, see what Kat's doing here is she is making me into the persecutor big time.
Yeah.
And she's getting to be the victim here.
So I can get my needs met.
Yes, which the need that she has is to talk about her birthday. And it's working because here we are, we're talking about it. And what I would like to say in regard to that is a long time ago, we had a calendar meeting on how we wanted to roll out episodes. And this is kind of behind the scenes in the weeds sort of stuff, but Kat's doing a lot of video things. And she was like, ooh, our big Feeling Things episode would be good if we had that done a week in advance. So we've got a lot of time to edit the clips and see what we want to pull for socials and get it on YouTube and whatnot. Yeah, okay, I get that too. Also, Houston, that gives him more time to edit as well. Well, it turns out Houston has kept his same editing schedule. So I don't think if we alter it, it'll affect him at all. But since we're recording a week out, yes, when this airs, Kat's birthday will have passed.
And nobody will have cared about it.
Nobody said that.
I'm just kidding.
But we do have an episode coming out on your birthday. So I thought that Couch Talks episode would be a great time to bring up your birthday. That's all I was saying. But I think you're onto something because I wanted to talk about Stevenson's race, but this will air way after that. We can talk about our Thanksgiving plans. This is airing way after that because it's airing on December 8th, 9th, whatever that Tuesday is. The 9th. And, we can revisit this. So now, if it's no difference to you, because I know it won't bother Houston, should we just start recording our Tuesday episodes the Monday before so everything's fresh?
Yeah.
And we are bringing in the freshest of the fresh. And I think that podcasting gives you that flexibility to pre-tape in that way. I do come from a very fresh live radio world. So that's probably why in my brain, I'm like, we're in the moment, we're doing things. Or if that has been we don't.
You want to confuse people.
Yeah. So I was just, I'm down for that. So now we have talked about your birthday, which is what you wanted. Happy birthday. And then we came up with a new plan that I think is going to be better. But now we just have to get on track to do that.
It. Well, I will say I really appreciate this plan because this plan really, I think, was created for my benefit. But I think I've learned I don't start editing the clips until the week of.
Yeah,
anyway,
so
it
you're
doesn't
good.
matter.
So yay. Thanks for your patience, listeners, and walking through that with us. And maybe you did see a little bit of victim mode because Kat was really turning it on. And she made me out to be Persecutor, in full transparency, that's not how our conversation really went. Like, it was for dramatization purposes. We acted that out. So in the drama triangle, there's the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer.
Yeah.
It's rarely how I show up. So you think? Do you think I show up as the rescuer a lot? I mean, sometimes I kind of want to control it and fix it, but I've been working on that.
Well, it's not bad. Okay.
I know
We're
it's not
getting ahead
bad.
of
I know
ourselves.
it's not bad,
Yeah.
but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So I'll let you go.
Okay. Because I think that I want to talk about two things before we even get to those roles. So
Before we proceed, though, is
do I
there
think-
anything else you would like to say about your birthday? Because you did say you were excited, and we didn't really expand on that
Okay.
feeling.
yeah, I'm excited about it. And I just wanted everybody to know it's coming up.
On December 4th. We'll talk about it in Couch Talks, which you heard last Thursday.
I probably won't.
Yes, we will.
So now you're making me talk about my birthday a lot. This is backfiring on me.
Well, I planned on talking about your birthday in that episode, but we just haven't recorded it yet.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you just didn't know that.
I ruined the surprise. Were you going to bring out a cake and everything?
No. I have a half a loaf of banana bread. I could bring in.
I just wanted to say, I didn't really want to talk about my birthday. I think I just wanted to say I'm feeling excited because currently I am feeling excited. That is my true emotion right now because my birthday is coming and I enjoy my birthday. Although I will say, I'm starting to feel less excited than normal because turning 36 isn't like, woohoo, you know?
Yeah, but 36 is 3 plus 6 is 9.
And
I don't know. It's just. I was trying to do some.
okay.
Numerology.
Wait, what was the special number? 7 to sell my house? Wasn't it like
Oh, I think 8.
8? Okay. Well,
That's address numerology. That's for
it's
another
different.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just excited. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. And
What are you doing for your birthday? Because I am going to be sadly out of
Gone.
town.
Yeah. So my actual birthday, I'm working. Usually I take the day off, but I had to move my schedule around this week, so I have to work. I get to work on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I'm just going to dinner with Patrick. But what we do is we don't pick our birthday dinner. We plan for the other person's birthday dinner, and we don't tell them what it is until we like show up there.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah. And then I'm really interested to see what he got me because it came in like a month ago, and he's been really excited about it. So I don't know if it's like, it could be one of two things. It could be something really cool, or it could be something he like found on an Instagram ad.
So isn't he hiding it in the garage, or wasn't he tinkering with it or working on it or something? Because didn't he say at some point you thought he was like surprising you with something else? And he was like, no, you can't go in there.
No.
That's your birthday present.
No, he spent like an hour. He went downstairs and wouldn't let me come downstairs. He was in the living room on his computer, and he was like on his computer for like an hour. And then I came downstairs. I was like, can I come down now? And he said, yes, but don't come over here. And was like hiding his computer screen. I'm like, what item that you're ordering from the internet takes you an hour? Maybe he ordered me tickets to something and like the tickets were going on sale.
And then also he couldn't get into a corner of the room to where like you couldn't see his screen.
I guess not.
Was he running a projector?
But then it came in the mail. So it can't be like tickets to something because they wouldn't mail those. What could it be?
I don't know. Well, we're going to find out.
In a month.
Well, you already know when this is airing. You already know.
That's fun that like I know, but I don't know. But like right now I do know.
Mm-hmm. Like when people are hearing this, you already know.
Current me doesn't know, but then like future current me does.
December 9th, you knows.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep you guys updated. He's got me a couple things off of like Instagram ads that have been like really funny. So hopefully it's not
Oh, I
that.
can't wait to find out. And then I can't wait to celebrate you once I'm back.
Well, you can just celebrate me now.
Okay.
Yay.
Well, I don't have anything.
You don't have to get me anything.
What? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm done talking about my birthday.
Okay.
Okay. Are you done talking about my birthday?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about the drama triangle, and the reason we're doing this is because it's the holidays. And when the holidays come, what comes with the holidays?
Drama.
Because you're around.
Family.
period.
Period.
And just like in general, there's gatherings, there's
Stress.
yes. So the drama triangle is a type of unhealthy pattern of communication that all of us engage in. So I say that, I'm going to say that right now because we have a tendency to think high. I want to say this I mean this very kindly, but like in general, most of us have a tendency to think a little bit more highly of our communication patterns than they probably really are.
Yeah.
We all do this. It is universal. So there's no shame in playing this game.
I have literally been every character,
Yeah.
all three. I've played all three roles. The thing with me is I know I can be all three. It's just sometimes I don't know exactly in the moment when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like I may
Yeah.
not have, like I'll eventually have the awareness, hopefully, please. Or it may need to be brought to my attention and then I'll be like, oh, shoot. But it's not, because I know them, I think I am hopefully a little more aware, but I definitely know that I partake in, and I'm just not aware.
Yeah. We all partake. The lesson in this is how to notice that you're on it so then you can get off of it. Not to like not ever get on it. I will get on it again, you will do it again, everybody will do it again. So there's that. Everybody does it. Now, before we talk about the drama triangle itself, I wanted to touch on two things that we've talked about, but we haven't really named them in this way that can help you understand the drama triangle a little bit better. And the first one is fact versus story. So when I say fact versus story, I imagine you have some idea of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like what's the data or the facts and what's absolutely true, and then what's the story that you've made up around it.
Yeah, yeah. And so all of the data in our life can be put in two different categories, fact and story. So another way to look at that is the content, which is the facts, and the context, which is the stories we create around the facts. And most of what all of us in general, when we're talking about things, most of what we're talking about is the context. We're usually talking in story versus just talking about the facts of our lives. And I want to give an example of this because it's easy to confuse facts and story. A lot of the things that we think are facts are really just stories that we have created to make us feel right about the other stories that we have.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a little confusing, but so I was listening to this podcast. I don't know what the guest name is, but the host was Elise Lowen. Have you heard of her?
Mm-mm.
She's an author, and she gives me Brene Brown vibes, but she also is a student of work too. So she did this podcast with, I really want to say this woman's name is Courtney Smith. And
It is.
Really?
I just Googled it.
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And her podcast is called like Pulling the Thread.
Yes.
Okay. Her voice is also really nice to listen to. So if you just like need a soothing voice, which Brene Brown's voice is soothing too.
Very.
I don't know why I brought them up. Oh, I was listening to them talk. They talked about this too in an episode of her podcast. And Courtney Smith said that usually there's only two facts really to anything we're talking about. And then like the rest we just kind of make up because facts are pretty simple. So I'm going to give an example of what facts versus story could look like. And also pay attention to like, I'm going to give a fact and then I'm just going to give stories that could be there. And I want to show that like our stories could be really helpful and motivating and encouraging. And our stories can be very drama filled and fear-based, and based on which one we go with can totally change the trajectory of something with the same exact facts. So, and I'm going to ask you maybe to give an example of this after you hear me do this.
Okay.
So listen to what I'm saying, but also think at the same time.
Got it.
Okay. So a fact right now for me, I have struggled to get pregnant, period. That's the fact. I have not been able to get pregnant on my own, fact, period. Okay. The stories I could create about that, and maybe some of these I have created, could be I'm never going to be a mom. My body doesn't work properly. I'm being punished for something that I've done. God doesn't love me. My marriage is going to suffer. I'm going to have extra conflict in my marriage. I'm going to be too old to be a mom. Or I could say things like, God is waiting for the perfect timing for me to have a kid, or this is creating so much space for me to be vulnerable and connect with my husband. This is going to strengthen my marriage because of the things we're going through. I'm going to learn so much about my body and understand more about the reproductive system than I ever thought I would. So do you see those two? And I could, depending on where I am, because our stories also help us make sense of the world. There's two ways we can go with stories. We can go above the line, below the line. Have you heard this?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yay.
So above the line are stories that are very empowering, right? And they're motivating, they're helpful, they allow us to be an active participant in our life versus like life happening to us. And then below the line is when I am understanding things through a lens that like the life is happening to me, very fear-based, and they get you kind of stuck. So based on if I'm above the line and below the line is going to shape how I then proceed, right? And most of the time, again, this is like taking shame out of it. We are wired to go below the line. We're wired to think fear-based. And I think that's more of like, think about how we were created, right? We had to be aware of our surroundings and what was going on. So in order we could protect ourselves, it's that same idea that like fear helps us protect ourselves. Therefore, we're easy to go there. But when we go fear-based, we end up cutting ourselves off from any other need outside of keeping myself safe. So learning, exploring, play, connection, all of that doesn't get met. I'm just making sure I'm protected. So I think if I go back to those stories, like the ones that I said first that were examples of being below the line, those would protect me from probably feeling my real feelings. This is going to create conflict and struggle in your marriage. Doesn't allow me to actually see that this conflict in our marriage is creating all these opportunities for us too. So as I was saying that, have you thought of like a fact?
Well, something that I've been thinking about recently, and I don't know if it's ever since my boyfriend said to me after I was sharing with him some overwhelm that I was having, and I think it's because I know our relationship is progressing and I have some fear around, well, I didn't get it right the first time, my first marriage, even though it's not that it was wrong though, it was a very long marriage and we had struggles getting pregnant, but we ended up adopting. So that ended up being a beautiful thing that happened from that relationship. And we have a good co-parenting relationship now. But I think as my current relationship progresses, I am feeling a lot of overwhelm of like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? And I need to slow down, or I have some fear that's popping up. And he said to me, like, you have somebody right here that cares for you and loves you, and once your kids are doing well. Like, he just was going through all these things, and I was kind of in a negative mode, but he didn't really know what was deep down inside of me. And so I shared that as a little preface to the I am divorced, period.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. And that's something I never thought I would be ever. And from that, like, some of the things are like, yeah, am I now worthy of another relationship? Like, yeah, because I wasn't a good wife the first time,
That's a story though.
That's a story.
Yeah. I wasn't a good wife.
Yeah. And how could we have adopted these kids and then split up? So now we've ruined their lives.
Story.
Because, when my dad left at 9, he ruined my life. Just kidding.
That's also a story.
It's also a story, yes, because kids are resilient. Adults are resilient. I have seen it firsthand. And now Ben and I co-parenting in the healthiest way possible for us is showing that we're doing the best by our kids. And I think this is better for them than maybe Ben and I staying together for them, because then
That's
There
above
was
the line. That's a story above the line.
That's above the line. And there's been a lot of healing that has been able to take place because of the separation of the divorce. So there is above the line stuff that has happened, but there are below the line stuff of like, well, woe is me, or why did this have to happen to me instead of for me? And I even think of like a silly example. CryoCat's in here running the cameras, but we were driving to the Tennessee game in Knoxville, and I was trying to get there early because we were meeting my boyfriend, and he was tailgating at some friends, and he wanted me to meet some people, and it's where he went to law school, and his wife that passed away from cancer, she went to her undergrad there, so he was with some of her friends, and I really wanted to get there early to see all these people, and we just wasn't going to happen. Like, we left later, and then we missed an exit, and it set us back another 12 minutes, and I was like, oh, well, now we're really not going to make it. And I was feeling bummed. And then Kat was like, she went and did the little U-turn to turn around and add the 12 minutes. And she's like, well, I'm just going to look at it as like that protected us from something. Like if we had stayed on that path, like who knows, maybe this now took us out of harm's way, which that's just a way of looking at it above the line. Like who knows? Do we know that is really what happened? No, but it does help give you a different perspective that then allows you to take a deep breath and then just proceed and be in the moment instead of like, why does this happen to me? Why do I always miss the exits and I'm not paying attention to the map? And then you spiral. So that's a very
and then that gets you
tiny example.
That's a great example actually, because it will make sense as we talk about the drama triangle, because that is an example of you playing this victim role on the drama triangle.
Yeah.
And so I give all of this pre-context because we didn't even have to talk about all of that to talk about the drama triangle, but I think it is very helpful. And when I heard them talk about it on that podcast, it gives a whole different way to think about what being on the drama triangle means. Because if you can understand the stories and you can understand that you are writing stories over and over and over again, and you are creating all these stories, you can have so much more power in how you think, which is then going to shape how you operate throughout the world. So if I can take ownership of these stories, I can either acknowledge like, yeah, I'm writing these stories and they're not so great and that's why I'm sitting here. Or I can acknowledge like, oh, I'm writing these stories. That means I can write them this way and I don't have to sit here anymore. So they're either way, either one you choose, at least you're owning it and choosing it. It gives us agency. Mm-hmm. So let's take those two ideas and then talk about how the drama triangle works. And this is actually really simple. It's sometimes can feel very complex, but this pattern of relationship and communication is very simple. It all stems from avoiding being direct and asking for your needs to be met, which, again, I'm just going to keep saying this over and over. This is normal. This is normal. This is normal. We live in a world that loves to avoid any type of conflict, and sometimes asking for our needs is conflict. And so even me, like, I was being kind of funny, but me playing that role of victim earlier, but like Amy wouldn't let me talk about my birthday.
Which is a story.
Yes, it's a story. It's me saying that. So I couldn't say, because I didn't want to say, I really don't like this schedule anymore because I feel like we can't talk about things in real time. Is there any way we could revisit that?
Yeah.
But this is a low stakes example, but that's an example of me being vulnerable and asking for my needs.
The reason why it's like, that is such a simple ask. It's like no drama.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you do that, you're not in the drama triangle. That's why it's the perfect name, because when you avoid the direct line of communication and intentional dialogue, like we've talked about before in healthy communication, that's when the drama comes in.
That's when the drama comes in.
So and while you say it is very normal, I will also say it's so helpful.
Oh yeah.
It's so, like, once you see it, and it clicks with certain relationships where you understand and you can dance, right? Like, you'll probably get to that, but like once you see it, you almost can't unsee it, unless sometimes you're in it.
Unless you really don't want to.
And you want to avoid it.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes I don't have awareness and then I need to be told and I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, you're right. But I'm glad I have the knowledge so that I can, hopefully I'll remain in this space. Like, I don't know, I could go on some unhealthy path and not want the feedback. But like right now, I welcome that. Like if you as my friend were to say, hey, me, I really feel like right now we're doing a little dance. And that's what even my kids' therapist, my son had a therapist once and he always called, don't do the dance. He's inviting you to tango and you are just, you're like, okay, what time? I'll be there. Let's dance.
Let's do it.
Turn the music up.
Yeah.
And I would do the dance. And I remember too, like Ben and I, when we were working through, like we were still married and we were going through some stuff with our son. I would look at Ben and I'd be like, you're doing the dance. Don't do the dance.
You're like, I can see you're doing the dance,
you're doing
but
the dance.
I'm not.
Like I'm over here. Well, I mean, I would do it too, but he would probably call me out. It's
easier to see.
It's easier to see it in your other people. So if Ben were here, he would say, oh yeah. And there's definitely times I would look at Amy and be like, Amy, stop dancing. You're doing the dance. And once you start seeing the dance, you're like, okay, you're
like, that dance is not cool.
But that's where sometimes if we're used to chaos or we get a little bit bored, we're kind of like, I kind of feel like dancing.
Which does happen. Happens to me.
Guilty.
Yeah, guilty.
Done it.
So as we explain these 3 roles, and I will preface this too, you can do this dance by yourself and you can just go around and do all these 3 things by yourself, or you can triangulate somebody and be on this triangle with other people. So you can, as you're listening, you can contextualize this in both ways. There is a role in here that is the victim. And I feel like it is very important to always give the preface that this is different. There are times when people are victims of their circumstances, things have happened to them. There is a place and time where you are a victim. That is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is something that's more closely tied to victim consciousness, which is playing the role of a victim when there is a healthy, easy way out of the situation you're in. So I just don't want anybody to hear that we're victim blaming or shaming or anything like that, because those are 2 separate things.
Apples and oranges.
And oranges, yes. I wish there almost was like a different word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the drama triangle, so pattern of unhealthy communication, we get on this thing, we do this dance when we are avoiding or want to avoid asking for what our needs are, asking for our needs because of a fear around something usually tied to being vulnerable. So the 3 roles, victim, and I'm going to give some alternate names too that I like a little better. So there's the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. The victim, if you're explaining this with families, a lot of times or if I'm explaining this with a client that is going to take this home and talk about it with like her kids or somebody younger, I like to give them the names. Victim is the helpless baby. Which I guess we did find another name for it. Then there is the rescuer, which is the bossy helper. And then the persecutor is the blaming bully, which another word for persecutor also is just like the villain. Like they are the villain in this story. So when you hear all of those, is there one that you're like, that one sounds nice? Or that one sounds like, is there one that you're like, ugh, I don't want to do that? Or is there one that you're more?
I mean, now earlier we brought up the rescuer and I was like, I don't know that I do that one a lot. And you were like, And I was like, well, shoot, maybe I do, which feel free. You have full permission to say whatever you want to say about me. With the mics on, I wish I was more. I think it'd be better to be the rescuer out of any of those. Like I would rather show up as the rescuer. Like, yes, bossy helper sounds blah, but I'd rather be the bossy helper than the whiny helpless baby. You're saying helpless baby, but I don't know that I would say helpless.
No, they're not. Yeah,
because they're whiny.
I've been whiny baby.
You're whiny baby, and
you're
then
whiny baby.
Because I've been the whiny baby entangled in a terrible relationship with a bossy helper, and I was the whiny baby. And then when I tried to set a boundary about it, they turned me into the persecutor.
Yeah.
And I was so into the drama triangle at the time that I could see it clear as day. I saw it happening. It was unfolding before my eyes. And I remember like telling my therapist, I was like, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. I know for a fact that I stayed healthy in my communication and I stayed on my side of the street. And the response I got back, which, you know, the response I got back had flipped me. They immediately went, and that's why I know you can dance in the triangle.
Mhm.
It's like they immediately went from helper or rescuer to now they're the victim, which I was the victim before. I didn't want to be, but I was choosing to stay there. Like that was our thing.
You didn't want to be, but also there is what we called secondary gains. So a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody and they're talking about a pattern of behavior that they're continue to do, and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I say, okay, well, like, what do you get out of it? They're like, I don't get anything. And then I have to ask again, okay, but like, if you did get something, what would it be? Because we don't continuously do something over and over and over again unless there's something that we get.
Oh, I for sure had gains from it, 100%. And also, I was avoiding
Which is a
speaking
gain.
for what I really, like I didn't have to really speak up.
Mhm.
And I can also see in this relationship, like they would have benefited by speaking up for what they needed too. Like
Mhm.
they were avoiding as well. And I hate that for them. We were both doing it.
Well, and I'm glad that you're saying all of that, because the reason I kind of like using the other names is because all of these roles are in their own right victim. Nobody's actually getting their needs met here. Nobody is. We're getting a version of our needs met. We're getting that secondary gain. So like I might not get if my need is to talk about my birthday. I'm struggling to come up with an example right here, but if my need is to like talk about my birthday. By me playing the victim role, I get to gain the idea that like I'm not doing anything wrong and it's like all your fault. And by you didn't do this, but let's say that you were like, nobody cares about your birthday. Then like you end up having like the blame is not on you either. You're like, my hands are clean. Nobody wants to hear about it. It's not me. You know what I mean? And like, that's kind of mean. Like, right? I would get my feelings hurt. And then I could blame you for being mean to me. And then we would have a whole other issue that has nothing to do with me talking about my birthday.
Right.
So let's talk about each role individually, and then we'll come back. And I have a really good example I thought of while I was watching a Netflix Christmas movie today. So we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Merry Xmas. Have you watched it?
I've watched it. Yeah.
Okay. So then you're going to know. Okay. Actually, I'm going to quiz you. I'm going to ask you to place the roles.
Oh, this is the one with Alicia Silverstone?
Yes.
Okay.
Which like blast from the past.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And Melissa Joan Hart.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, she was her sister, or is her sister in the movie.
Oh, that was her sister?
I thought so. Well, you might not want to quiz me because
Okay,
was I
fine.
paying attention? No. I'm pretty sure that was her sister.
I might not have.
Doesn't
paid
matter.
attention. I was doing multiple things. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the Persecutor first. So the Persecutor is, I think my experience is like they get like the bad rep in this triangle. Like they're like the mean one. They're the ones that are causing the problem essentially, but they're also saying, this is not me, this is you. So if I'm the persecutor, I'm blaming you for whatever the issue is. But if you're not the persecutor, you're then blaming me. We're all trying to shift blame, so then nobody has to do anything. Because if I'm blaming you and you're blaming me, then guess what?
Nothing's getting done.
Nothing. I don't have to change, and you don't have to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also is a reason why a lot of times we have the same kind of arguments over and over and over again, because if we do not realize that we are stuck in a cycle of story, we don't realize that we have agency to shift that. And I'm not just going to like, okay, never mind, my story is not real if I don't realize that I'm in this cycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's why I think talking about the triangle is so helpful, because I was in the cycle for years, but didn't know this concept
existed. Yeah.
So
you're thinking my story is true.
I just thought, well, this is just how it is. Like, this is just the relationship, and this is our cycle, and this is what we do. And I don't know how to stop it. But then once you realize where you each are and the roles that are being played, then you you do have the ability to stop it. And sometimes it might be too far gone to where it's like,
Yeah. Well,
but that's a different conversation.
yeah.
It's just interesting.
So the persecutor, they're like the bad cop, essentially. They're angry. They're very blamey. It's all your fault.
So I mentioned earlier, since you're talking about being the actual persecutor, that I was then put into the persecutor role when I set a boundary, but I wasn't actually the persecutor. Does that make sense? Can you like talk about that? Because I don't know that I've ever talked that through, like how I wasn't, but I was made to be with the response that I got and the story that was now being told from
because
their
you're
perspective
not doing what I
laid me out as a persecutor. And it's just because I shifted
well, because you're fighting over being the victim.
I messed with the game.
So that person doesn't want to be the persecutor, so they're making you the persecutor. But then you, by saying they made me the persecutor, is then making that person the persecutor, because you guys are both fighting to be the victim, even though you wouldn't actually admit that in the moment.
To be clear, I never responded in a way. I'm just sharing that with you. I never said, you're making me the persecutor. I know
that. But in your head, that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm explaining this, you have to think about this in two contexts. You're on this triangle by yourself and you're just traveling around. And then also you can be on this triangle with other people.
Okay.
So the persecutor is somebody who is never going to do anything to fix or solve the problem, but they are going to criticize and find a problem. It's not me, it's you. That's what they say.
That's a persecutor. Okay.
Nobody wants to be that one, for sure. That's the one that people are like, that never be me. No. We also, again, we do this to ourselves as well. So that's persecutor. Then we have the rescuer, which you also usually have like a start gate position. So there's usually a role that you gravitate towards. And then no matter what, once you're on this, you're going to do it all. So that's just to take some, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't want to be that way, just take a deep breath and release the shame, because if you do one of these, you do all of them, and all of us do them. So nobody's alone.
One ticket to Drama Town, please. So you're saying, like, when we hop on the ride, we have a place that we typically
start with.
We have a station we typically go to first.
It's a start gate. It's like easy for me to get on in that.
I mean, mine's for sure victim. I can hop on there real quick.
I was gonna say, I feel like you are, in my experience of you, which you can also, this can be different in different experiences, but like in my experience of you, I feel like I've seen you easier to jump on in the rescuer.
Well, that's apparent, because you said that earlier about me. And I'm like, really? Tell me more.
I just see you in that context, but also like maybe you were already on the triangle and I just see you in that rescuer position more. Does that make sense? I get on this triangle usually, well, now that I'm like revisiting this, I used to always say like it's easy for me to get on as the rescuer, but I think I honestly can get on as the persecutor pretty easily.
No comment. I think from stories that you tell me,
I love to blame somebody.
I see that.
Yeah.
But not because I've experienced it from you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I love to blame somebody.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So it's like, can you believe this? So I think.
Yeah, but then you like come back around. You're rational. It's just
but I like to get on that train for a little bit.
Yeah.
So back to the rescuer.
Mm-hmm.
The rescuer plays like the good cop to the persecutor's bad cop. That is hard for me to say. Good cop, bad cop. They give codependent vibes.
Oh, that's why you thought that was me.
I didn't say that.
I do sometimes give codependent vibes.
And they end up playing like a martyr role.
Oh, yeah. I've been a martyr too.
Yeah. So they forego all of their needs to solve somebody else's needs. Is that okay? So you're relating?
This was more so in my marriage. At the end of it, and I won't ever forget what one of my therapists said to me. Like I was like, I can't do that. Like I will just stay in this forever because. And then she said to me, "Oh, you sweet martyr." And I remember I was pacing in my backyard at my other house. Like, I remember exactly. And she has an accent. And she goes, "Oh, you sweet Marta." And I was like, it almost just clicked. It clicked. And I was like, and that's what either one of us would have been doing in that situation. I mean, Ben too. And this isn't just all specific to my marriage. There was a lot of things happening. But I realized, like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I need to
There's a lot of
make an actual choice for myself, not just for somebody else.
Which I was going to say, like, there's a lot of guilt involved in the rescuer that you can have, and you use that on yourself. Like, I feel guilty for choosing myself. The problem is we cannot spend our lives fixing other people's problems. And a lot of times when we're doing this, that other person doesn't really want their problem to be fixed. Because if you give them a real solution, then that victim has to actually do something. And we haven't gotten exactly to the victim, but the victim doesn't actually want to do anything. They want to play the victim because if I am the victim, there's nothing I can do. Sorry. But if you give them a solution, that's debunked. So they'll find an excuse. So then you'll hustle, or then you'll become the persecutor because you're like, I gave you a solution and and this is your fault and you're here because of blah, blah, blah. So not that you would say it like that, but that's how you can switch really easy. And I get that. Like, if I'm working really hard to help you in some way and you keep giving me excuse out of excuse after excuse after excuse, I'm going to get exhausted and frustrated and angry and resentful. And then I might lash out at you. And then I'm going to blame you for me feeling like this, even though I could just be like, okay, you don't want my help. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
But that's really hard because of the stories we have around your responsibility, maybe even to this person or this situation or the world. So rescuer is a tough role because you really feel like you are doing the right thing, but you're not. You're not helping, and you're definitely not helping yourself. I love that she called you a sweet martyr.
Oh, you sweet Marta.
And you're like, wait, what? Okay.
It's interesting, right? When I thought back to that story, which I mean, I've told it before, but that was a few years ago for sure. And I'm instantly transported to like talking on the phone, pacing in my backyard.
Yeah.
That exact conversation with her. And there's not many times I can remember like exactly where I was and what I was doing when I had a specific conversation, you know?
Well, and also like this is, because again, we're all fighting to be the victim in some regard. When you're in that space, you also can flip. You can flip to the persecutor. You also can flip to be the victim of like, I've tried everything and nothing works. And then you become this helpless baby or the whiny baby, as you would say, when really there's a solution, but you just don't want to take it. Okay, so then we have the victim. And when you hear that word, victim, again, victim consciousness, we're not talking about actual victims, what kind of comes to mind for you? Like, what feelings do you get when you think about the victim? What things pop into your head? Does your body react?
Okay, well, I can only speak to a personal experience where I feel like, because you have to understand, when I had the drama triangle revelation, victim mode was definitely where I was dancing a lot. So my brain keeps going to this example. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Okay.
I was definitely in a role.
You were in a what?
In a role.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It was part of the dynamic. So
You're playing a part.
Yes. Yeah. Like it would be very laying it all out, like all the things that are going on, the like sort of trauma dumping in a way, but taking up a lot of that space. But I thought that's what I needed to do for connection.
Yeah.
So, and then there would be like rescuing that would happen. And then that was so much so like I wasn't able to show up for that person in really any other way, even when I kept trying. Like I would try, or I would think I'd be trying, but that wasn't my role. So I don't even think they thought that's what I wanted, but deep down I did. And sometimes I would hang up the phone and I'd be like, why did I just talk about myself for 20 minutes and all that was going on?
Mm.
Because there was a lot happening, but I just would, is that making sense of like, that was the victim role for me of laying it all out of all the things. And then there was some swooping in to help fix the situation or make it better. And I don't know that I necessarily needed that. I wasn't looking, but it was just.
But what were you looking for?
Connection.
So you named a story in there. Like, in order to be connected to this person, I had to be this like little baby bird who needed somebody to fix them, or always, I'm making this stuff up, but like always had a problem that needed to be talked out. Like that's how I have to do this in order to have connection in my life.
Like, it
with
wasn't
this person.
fun for me. Like, I am aware of it even
You weren't
now, and I
enjoying
haven't
it.
thought I wasn't enjoying it either. Like, it was very perplexing to me. So then it was also exhausting, and I'm sure they were exhausted too, and they weren't getting needs met. And so you're right. It's like, if you have the awareness, then we could have fixed it maybe a long time ago, but then it got to where we couldn't fix it. So
yeah. So you're having this story around like, in order to be connected to this person, I have to play this role. It doesn't feel very good. So, but you were still like, you're the story that you created around the facts of what were going on in your life was a below the line example, versus just being able to own this. Oh, I've created this story. What would happen if I said to this person, I'm feeling stuck and this relationship's really important to me. Therefore, I think I need XYZ, and named something. Who knows? We don't know what would have happened, but it would have given you an opportunity to get off of this triangle, to get out of this dance where even if that relationship didn't end up being what you wanted it to be, you didn't have to keep playing that game anymore.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot I learned in that couples therapy that just helped in a lot of areas in my life.
Yeah. And so the victim they're all interesting roles because essentially we don't want to be any of them, but like the victim is the one that we all are like, I don't want to be that, but you really subconsciously really are wanting to be.
So the part of me that gets real defensive, isn't that my victim mode? Yeah. So see?
Well, it depends. The defensiveness can also be like persecutor. Like, it's not my fault. It's your fault because it's this,
I don't know
that
my defensiveness is...
Well, your defensiveness, I think in general defensiveness could be different things.
My defensiveness is, like, we use that dog water example too. Like, I wasn't really saying like, it's not my fault, but she was like, would you like some water for your dog? Now we're going back a few months. People don't even know this story because that's a totally different episode. But like, a woman offered water to my dog, but I was embarrassed and thought she was like judging me for having my dog out on a hot day. So I wouldn't accept the water. Like, and I got like, she walked away and I was with my boyfriend and I was just like, oh, she's probably like, you idiot, why'd you bring your dog? And he's like, she didn't say that. She just offered you water. Like, so I wasn't saying it's not your fault or it's not my fault, it's your fault. Like, my defensiveness wasn't that. I was just getting defensive of like I get defensive that I'm being judged.
That nobody was judging you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think defensiveness can show up in different ways depending on, like how it's who you are and how it's coming up in that example. Defensiveness in general doesn't just mean this. But good callback.
Shout out
to the lady who tried to give me the water.
To this day, I will say I should have taken the water. I'm sorry, Cara.
Well, now you have learned. So don't get on this triangle with yourself. Give yourself grace. So these are all of the roles, okay?
Hopefully we haven't confused anybody.
Well, this is something that like is so simple that it's so confusing, if that makes any sense at all. And it's confusing because we don't, like, when we think about this, then we're doing the like dance and we're making all of these connections. So if you like would write it out, it would make perfect sense. I did this, then this happened. Then I did this, then this happened. And you would be able to see it very clearly.
And I would say, if you're just now taking this in and you realize it in a relationship, like, I don't know that right away I would go to the person and be like, we're in a drama triangle. You're the persecutor and I'm the rescuer. I'm the helper and you're mean. Like, or, like,
oh, yeah.
Like just taking, like, talking about it in a thoughtful way of like, hey, started thinking about, I listened to this podcast, I just started thinking about this, and I'm just reflecting upon some of our latest interactions and like, what's your experience with it? Because here's what I am. And I feel like we might be dancing a little, and I want to see if you feel the same way. And that way it's inviting them into it, and not that like you've listened to this podcast and come to all these conclusions and now you know.
I'm gonna name everything.
Or if you are involved in therapy, like take this to your therapist and see, like if, like you said, taking down the notes, like that's what I had many sessions after my couples therapy with Ben, with my personal therapist, about my roles and how I was showing up.
Yeah.
And I tried to carefully talk through it before.
And you don't have to, because you're going to notice this pattern with people that you don't have intimate relationships with.
Yeah. Like I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that, because I made it like you should talk to people about it. But to clarify, there are so many people have been in dances with, and they don't know.
Right. So yeah,
they may know, and maybe they're not saying anything.
Yeah.
But like, I know that I know, but it's not worth a conversation.
Well, there's ways to kind of handle this without having to have that conversation. Now, I will say, like, if you have a partner or a really close friend, or you have a really close relationship with a boss or something like that, and it feels safe and natural to talk about this thing, talk about it. Because I think there's so much you can learn from having two people communicating about it. And there are ways that you can take all of this drama triangle. Really, the purpose of it is to show you that you can take ownership of your own life, and you can ask for your needs to be met. Because once you get, I don't know if I said this, but the reason a lot of people are fighting to be the victim is because the victim is the one that gets their needs met without asking for them to be met. So like, I want to be that. Mm-hmm. Again, these all have versions of victimness in them.
Question. Yes. Can the rescuer be getting certain needs met if they have I want to be involved and fix everything
but
mentality?
They can. And also remember that rescuer is always going to end up as the victim. No matter, I don't know if I said this either, no matter what you start as, you're going to end up as the victim if you don't get off of this triangle.
Okay.
At some point. Now that will shift again, but like you're going to do that. But yeah, I think when you're talking about rescuing and somebody being like a martyr, there is something that's the secondary gain we get, right? So,
or this like fulfillment. I'm thinking of people that loved, like if you're a 2, like a helper.
But remember, when you're the rescuer and you're helping the victim doesn't actually want help,
right?
So the fulfillment doesn't usually come. And that's why you then move roles.
And then you get exhausted. And then you start giving the silent treatment.
Yeah. So are you speaking from experience?
That's what happened to me. So
I also probably do that too. I love a good silent treatment. So
I was talking about you.
So. So there's a couple ways to get off of this triangle. And before I go into that, before I go into that, let's talk about Merry Xmas. That's the name of the movie, right? Merry Xmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's having Christmas with her ex.
Okay. So, spoiler alert, if you're waiting to watch this movie that you're going to have no idea how it ends because it's very different than every other Christmas holiday movie, then skip forward 60 seconds.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah.
Too. Also, it's been out for a few weeks on Netflix, so.
I thought it was brand new. I also thought maybe it was like an older movie.
No, it was one of the first releases, so maybe 2 weeks.
Oh. Okay,
by the time this airs, 3.
If you haven't watched it yet, we can't do anything about that. So, thinking about that movie, do you have any idea of why I would bring that up? Think about the 2 main characters, the husband and the ex-husband, ex-wife.
Well, you learn at some point that she put off some of her dreams and that she wanted to go to Boston or something. And was that like she seemed like a rescuer?
Yes. So it's this couple, there's a doctor, and then she was, I think, architect or something in that realm. She had these big dreams to have this big career. So she moved with her husband to this small town. She gave up her dreams to build a life with this man, and then he ended up being kind of addicted to his job and would miss out on a lot of stuff. So they end up getting divorced. And then you find throughout the movie that like neither of them really wanted to get divorced. They both were still in love with each other. But she was resentful of him because she didn't speak what she really needed. And he was resentful of her because she was doing things that bothered him, but he never really shared any of that. And actually, I can't spoil this movie because I'm only halfway through.
So you don't even know for
I
sure
don't
how it
know
ends.
what happens,
Okay.
but I have a feeling that I know what happens. And that's a perfect example of if she would have actually said, hey, I need you to like be home more and I want to go back to work. And is there a way we can figure this out? And who knows? They could have stayed together in the end. And maybe they ended up doing that. And if he would have said, hey, there's a couple things that you do at home that make me not want to come home, and that's why I'm working more. She could have taken a look in the mirror and looked at what she was doing and say, oh, I can make some concessions here so we can both get our needs met. But they never had that conversation. So they just got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were resentful of each other. And that's a perfect, and she blamed him and he blamed her. And really they were both doing things.
Have you watched All Her Fault on Peacock?
No,
Okay.
I haven't because I don't have Peacock.
I've started it, and this isn't going to be spoiling anything, so I'm not even going to tell you which couple I'm talking about, but I just watched a scene where a husband, and there's multiple husbands in the show, the wife, she works and he works. When she is at home and with the kids and, doing laundry and cooking, taking care of the kids, she's always on the clock. Whenever she's out doing something and he's home with the kids, he's like, when are you back? Like, when am I done? And I was just thinking of relationships and dynamic and how awful that would be with someone. And I was like, this is reality for some people, that the wife feels like she's always on. Like she never, when she's home with the kids, she doesn't call the husband and say, when am I off so I can go do something else? And it was interesting because...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And is she playing that role of the rescuer and she's taking care of everything?
She definitely paused and was like, took a deep breath. And I didn't really know where she was going to go with it. And you could tell she just didn't want the conversation or confrontation at the time. And she was like, you know what? You're right. He's like, well, you knew when you married me that I have to have my me time and that I have to go do my things and that I'm better when I've got, time with my friends and this and that. And so she took a deep breath and she was like, you're right. I should have told you that I had this going on. I'll be home as soon as I can. And, marriage is work and we will get through this. And then she hung up and I'm like, Dakota Fanning.
Oh, is that her?
Oh,
she's in that?
I just said whose role it was, but that's not giving anything away.
You're not giving anything away at all.
I just said I wasn't going to say which couple it was, but I'm not giving anything away.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything. They could delete that scene and the show would be fine.
We believe you.
Thank you.
I didn't know she was in it. I knew it was the girl from Succession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiv.
I never watched that show. I couldn't get into it.
What? I love Succession.
I could not get into it. I watched 3 episodes and I was like, this is boring. Snooze. Yeah. I know I'm an outlier.
Okay.
But I spoke my needs to Patrick and I said, I can't do another one.
Okay.
And he watched it on his own. Okay. So how to get off of this triangle. So I'm going to give you options here, but my first option is 4 parts. Okay. Notice that you're on it. This is when you're on it with somebody else. Okay. Notice that you're on it. Number 1, hardest part. 2, you need to lower your expectations for other people. We have to realize that we are not everybody else. And so the things that make sense in our head and the things that like seem best case scenario in our head that work in our head aren't the things that work in everybody else's heads because of the stories that we have versus the stories other people have. So lowering expectations isn't like, okay, go marry somebody you hate. Like
No.
that's not what we're talking about. The point of this is when I can lower expectations and not expect this for people to fall in line with how I want them to act all the time, I then can start to appreciate the things about them that I couldn't see before because I was so resentful. So if I know somebody's really bad, I'm going to use me as an example. I'm really bad at remembering your birthday, the date.
Mm-hmm.
I know the month and I always end up doing something, but I can't seem to get that date right. 17th, 19th.
It's March 18th.
Oh my God. I've had
And
this
to be
conversation
clear,
so many times.
to be clear, Kat's birthday is December 4th,
Okay.
but that has come and gone.
Okay. But I'm not good.
It is now December 9th.
I'm not good at remembering dates.
And that's okay.
And
Like
things.
I don't have an expectation of you to, I know where you stand and that you care about
really
me
should work
and that
on
you
this.
celebrate me. Like
Yeah.
that's not, also too, birthdays have been hard for me. I have a calendar. Like there's things in the last 5 years that I have implemented in my life that help me.
Mm-hmm.
But before calendar, and then and even when it comes to the calendar, like having her, like my ADD to sit there and enter everybody's birthday reoccurring year after year,
Never.
like that's something that like I will give Shannon credit for, in that I needed help organizing my life because of we both have ADHD. Maybe that's why I can
Give
empathize
grace,
with
yeah.
you and I give grace, because I have been that person and it feels horrible forgetting.
Yeah.
Horrible. And I have been on the receiving end of no grace with it at all. Like just anger, disappointment, valid. But I know my heart and I'm like, gosh, shoot, I really do care about this person. I can't believe that slipped my mind. And it's probably why I don't take it out on you. Like I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get wrapped up.
You're not going to make me a
that.
persecutor or a villain.
No.
You're not getting on the triangle with me.
No.
And another example that people might relate a little bit more to is like love languages. So if you're in a relationship or like somebody in your family, they have a different love language than you. Like if somebody is really bad with words, but they are a good gift giver, you might not be able to, if you don't lower your expectations, you're like, well, I'm an affirmation person and you have to tell me X, Y, Z. You will get on this triangle every single time you talk to them because you won't be able to receive their love. But if I can lower expectations in the sense that, okay, I'm going to meet you with where you are, and this is how you show affection and love is gift giving, I can receive that. And I can actually appreciate so many things about you now that I'm not blinded by all this resentment. That might fit a little bit.
That helps.
Okay. So you have notice that you're on it. You're lowering your expectations. Then you're creating boundaries. So at the same time where like I am lowering my expectations and able to see all of this stuff, I also might want to protect myself. So I need to create and these are internal boundaries. You don't have to tell the people that you have these boundaries. So if I'm a words of affirmation person and I really need to hear, I go to this person when I'm struggling or I'm sad or I need reassurance or I just need to be validated, but they don't know how to do that. I need to create an internal boundary for myself. This is not who I go to for that. I might go to them for celebration in other areas, or I might go to them if I need help picking out a gift for somebody or something like that. There are other things that I can do and go to them, and I can see that more clearly now that I'm not blinded by this resentment over here. But I have to be smart. If it's that whole idea of don't go to the hardware store looking for a loaf of bread. If this person does not have bread, right, I can't keep asking them for it because then that's my fault. So I need to create a boundary. And when I'm hungry and I want a loaf of bread, I can't walk into the hardware store.
You got to go to the grocery store.
I got to go to the grocery store. And that grocery store might be a different person. And because of all that, because that's a lot of work, noticing you're on it and like acknowledging our shortcomings, lowering expectations and creating boundaries is a lot of work. I say it really simply. That's a lot of work. And because that's a lot of work, the fourth thing is self-care. Really simple. Just like be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace, soothe yourself in some way. I can say this to you really simply, but the act of lowering expectations and cutting myself off from going to somebody and asking for something that I've really wanted my whole life, that's hard work emotionally. And that's going to take a toll on us. So I need to then care for myself.
Yeah.
That's if you're on this triangle with somebody else. If you're on the triangle with yourself, it's a little bit more simple, and the solution is really to notice you're on it and to reevaluate the stories we're making out of the context and look for some solutions that might be above the line, which is very similar to that question that we come back to very often. What does this make possible, or what big thing is this preparing me for? Mm-hmm. Those two questions are above the line questions that can help us reframe a fact.
What in general is
Yeah.
above the line? What versus why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
yes, what versus why? Or it's like I used the example of Kat saying that when we missed the exit, and she's like, well, this is keeping us from an accident. There's the burnt toast. Is it called the burnt toast theory or the burnt toast?
I don't know. You're teaching me something.
Well, I don't know. It just popped into my head.
Well,
and
do you know
now, well, I feel like maybe we'll end on this note. I feel like maybe it's something like you burnt your toast and it
Amy's just workshopping this right now.
and it delayed your morning, but like not why did I burn my toast?
Oh, maybe like,
but more of like, what is this protecting me from? Like the burnt toast.
Is
there
keeping
a
me
thing?
late, so then maybe I don't get in a wreck or
Something
something.
like that. Like it's the burnt. I thought it was a whole thing. Sorry, I thought you might know what it is because it like literally just like burnt toast just popped into my head.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Let me look it up. The burnt toast theory is a psychological coping mechanism that suggests minor inconveniences like burning your toast may prevent larger misfortunes. My brain did not do me dirty.
You knew it.
I got there. Okay. Thank you, brain. You are
Awesome.
wonderful.
Well, that's the
It's a good
drama
one.
triangle, or the Cartman triangle, as some people call it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it's helpful, especially around this time of year. And it can keep your relationship safe and healthy and get your needs met.
All right, Kat. I hope you had a great birthday. Hope you had the birthday you needed to have.
Thanks.
Right?
That
Okay.
means a lot.
And
to
we
me.
hope y'all have the day
You need to have.
Bye.
Bye.